Thank you for your interest in our Great Assistant program. I know that for 5 years, I made every mistake in the book. I tried hiring overseas, I tried hiring locally, I tried virtual, didn't try in person, but let me tell you, I've tried everything else. And mistake after mistake after mistake made getting an assistant a serious drag. Then about 3 or 4 years ago, everything clicked. I finally figured out the formula. And now the assistant that I've got is absolutely extraordinary. She takes over about 95%, if not more, of my email inbox. She's able to take over the full bottom 80% or more of the tasks on my to-do list. And let me tell you, it is absolutely magic when I can go away for 10 days, be it on vacation or to a business seminar, and come back and the business is running just fine. That's the power of a great assistant. Having a great assistant is an incredible asset. And I know in my life, it's changed, yes, my business life, but then it also changed my entire life because I could get out of that bottom 80% and focus on the top 20% that would make the biggest difference for our business and that I was most excited to go and tackle. Getting a great assistant is a serious game changer. If you're like me, I had this fantasy that once I got an assistant, everything would change. Well, let me tell you, I've come to discover this. Most entrepreneurs have this fantasy that once they spend a few dollars and they get an assistant, that instantly the assistant will take over the bottom 80% and they, the entrepreneur, will be up here running through a meadow full of joy, completely free from all the day-to-day trivial stuff. Well, I'll tell you that in fact, it's just the opposite. Anytime you hire a new team member, you're actually worse off in the beginning. When you hire a new team member, including an assistant, you're not here, you're actually down here. That's because there's so much work that you have to do to get a new team member up to speed. There's onboarding, there's training, you have to delegate to them, and they also have to get to know the people in your world. If they're working with some of your vendors or your suppliers, your other teammates, maybe even some people in your personal life and or some mentors. So really, you got to be coming into this with realistic expectations. If you think you're going to be here, I'm very, very sad for you because you are going to be here. And when you see how big of a difference it is between expectation and reality, you're going to be extremely disappointed. I've seen far too many entrepreneur and assistant relationships die when they didn't need to. Dying because entrepreneur and assistant were caught in the trough of sorrow. So the three main areas that you need to watch out for when you're hiring a new assistant, first of all, is this area here to make sure that you're hiring the right person in the first place. We know from our experience hiring that it's really the intersection of three parts, which we can tell you at some other point. From here, there's O&T, or onboarding and training. You're going to want to have some kind of an onboarding process. You're going to want to make sure that you have training that's available for the assistant. And thirdly, you want to make sure that you're delegating effectively. I can't believe how many entrepreneurs I talk to who say that they're completely crushed by their workload. They're feeling completely swamped with that bottom 80% of tasks, and they would give anything to get out from underneath that heaviness so they could work on the top 20%. And then I give them a pen and paper and say, okay, what are the first few things you would delegate? And they stare at me and they go, my email. And it's like, delegating is actually a skill of being able to see what in your business is delegatable, and those things that are delegatable, what should you start with first? There's a real art and science to it. And if you're delegating the wrong thing, you could be very, very disappointed. Now, I've got some great news for you. If in fact you're aware of the trough of sorrow, and in fact you take care one way or another, all three of the critical choke points when it comes to getting an assistant, hiring the right person, onboarding and training, and then effective delegating for as long as you're working with them, not only will your assistant hit the break-even point, not only will they meet your expectation of what you were hoping them to do for you in the first place, they will actually exceed your expectations. I am amazed with some of the things that Sarah now does for me. I never in a million years thought that she'd be able to take over some of the parts of the business that she has. Instead of thinking of your assistant as like a lottery winning where suddenly one day you wake up and you're a millionaire, think of it more like a piece of real estate. Think about how your parents bought a property back in the 40s, 50s, or 60s, and they spent maybe $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on it. And then over time, as they've been investing into the property, improving the kitchen, the bathroom and whatnot, and as the market has climbed over time, the overall value of their investment has been appreciating. And that's exactly how you need to think about your relationship with your assistant. You want one assistant who's dedicated to you, and that assistant is going to be an asset. And even if you have to invest in the short term, you're expecting in the medium and long term to get a return on investment in spades. When you change your mindset to that, instantly you think of your assistant differently and your odds of success go through the roof. Every year we host an event called our Summit, and I was absolutely floored in the 2016 Summit when I brought Sarah up on stage and someone from the audience asked her what one of the number one keys was, in her opinion, to entrepreneurs getting a great assistant. She was kind of silent for a moment. She thought about it, and what she said next absolutely blew me away. She looked up at the crowd and she said, "You know what? If you want to get a great assistant, you need to be a great leader." I felt like shivers through my legs and the crowd went silent. You could have heard a pin drop. And it dawned on me that most entrepreneurs think that getting an assistant is just laying down a credit card and all of a sudden magic happens. No, 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 no. Your ability, and it is an ability that you can learn, to lead an assistant is just as important as anything else. Now, something I've also discovered on my journey of entrepreneurship, which has been more than 10 or 12 years now that I've been an entrepreneur, is oftentimes I'll make excuses like, I don't have the time or I don't have the money. When in fact, the reality is if I really wanted to make it happen, I probably could. Time and time again in my entrepreneurial career, I've experienced myself finding a way to make things happen. And probably on your own journey, you can say the same is true for you too. And so I've come to understand very rarely is it ever an issue of time or money or energy. It's more an issue of priority. What is it that us as busy entrepreneurs are making the most important thing each day, each week, each month, and each quarter? In our experience of placing entrepreneurs with assistants, in the past, we've accepted people's payment and then just assumed that they would do the homework to come along with it. And unfortunately, payment isn't enough. We need to know that you're going to make your assistant a priority. Not only are we looking to get your money or to get you as a customer, we want to sincerely help you and your assistant find exciting new opportunities and levels of success in your work together. To show us that you are absolutely serious about having a great assistant, we're actually going to ask you to do some homework before we'll accept your payment. Once you've completed those 3 bits of homework that our team will supply to you, and once you've looked over your homework and it looks satisfactory to us, then at that point we would accept your payment. And at that point you would now be on day 1 of being in our program. Once we've approved your application and your payment has been processed successfully, now it's time for us all to swoop into action on your behalf. Remember this diagram that I showed you? I showed you that there's 3 main sticking points. There was hiring the right person, there's onboarding and training, and then delegating effectively. Our team will actually work to do so much of the heavy lifting on your behalf. We will take care of interviewing you to make sure that we understand exactly what it is that you're looking for in an assistant. Then we'll take care of posting a custom created job posting just for you onto our preferred job sites to attract top talent. Inevitably, that will always bring in dozens, if not hundreds of applications. Good news though is that's our problem, not yours, to sift through all of these dozens and dozens and sometimes hundreds of applications to find the finalists. Then from there, we take the applicants through a series of work tests to see who has the highest possible level and the most appropriate skill set for what it is that you need in your company. We actually will also be footing the bill, we'll pay for it ourselves, to run Kolbe tests on each of the finalists that we think might be a great fit for you. And finally, you'll have an opportunity to meet your top 1 to 3 candidates. At that point, you can see if there's chemistry between you and them. If not, no problem whatsoever. We can move you on to somebody else, and that assistant that you said no to, we may move them on to a different entrepreneur. So you do have a say in who it is that you work with, for sure. And you also have the peace of mind knowing that our process is working on your behalf and you don't have to lift a finger once you've done all the homework and once you've also completed the first few interviews with us. It really is the best of both worlds. Then from there, once you've met your assistant, then at that point, there's a handful of other interviews and work that starts to happen for you and your assistant to actually begin working together. What's great is we guide that process as well to make sure that you have the smoothest possible transition so that we can support you not only in getting a great assistant, but also making sure that they get onboarded and trained as easily as possible, and that you and your assistant become experts at being able to delegate work from you onto their plate successfully for months and years to come. Something that makes our program substantially different from any other assistant matching program out there is that we actually use only North American assistants for North American entrepreneurs. That way you don't have any of the problems of cultural differences, language differences, or technology differences. Another really big difference of our program is after you get your assistant, we don't abandon you. We actually support you through the process. And not just you, we do some remarkable things to actually support your assistant. We have something called our Inner Circle, which is where all the assistants that we've helped hire come together. It's a group where they get to mastermind. Just like you as an entrepreneur, you have a mastermind, so too we've created one for our assistants. And they can talk to each other if they're looking for help on what the best CRM is. Should we use Infusionsoft? Should we use HubSpot? They can also ask each other for training videos. Does anybody have any idea on how to take care of uploading a blog post or uploading something to YouTube, etc., etc. We oversee that mastermind and we're able to jump in and either connect your assistant to training or create training for them. Oftentimes, assistants just need that sense of community, someone to go to. And at the end of the day, they don't want to bother you. As much as possible, they want to be self-sufficient so that you, as the entrepreneur, can stay focused on what is most important in the highest level of your company. We also provide an ongoing professional development program so that as time goes on, your assistant can get better and better and better, basically on autopilot, without you having to formally create some kind of like book list or online courses that they have to go through. We take care of that as well. Another difference with our program is we offer a 90-day guarantee. That 90-day guarantee is there so that should your assistant and you not work out in the first 90 days for any reason, we will find you a replacement assistant at no extra charge. It's our commitment to you. We do not want to leave you high and dry at that all crucial first 90-day period that you're working with your assistant. One other feature that I'll share is we've got 1 year. From the time you put your credit card down, you and us have 1 year to find you a match and for everything to work. Now, the reason that we put that in place is we've had entrepreneurs start with us and then disappear, and we don't know where they went. And so that's why we put a 1-year limit so that you and us are both accountable to getting this thing done in 1 year or less. If you end up going away and this just isn't a priority anymore, that's okay, but your program does end with us after 12 months. It's our way of working together to make sure that you actually get that assistant that we want you to have and that you want to have as well. Now you're probably wondering about timelines and payment. How does all of that work? Most of the time we actually have a little bit of a waiting list for our program, so the sooner that you can get your name in, the better. You can find out all the relevant information by going to greatassistant.com, and there you'll see what our current waitlist time is, and you also see on there what our average days to match is. So that's the number of days on average it's taking us to match an entrepreneur with an assistant. We're always working to get that as fast as possible because we know usually when entrepreneurs come to us, they want an assistant like yesterday. At the same time, we also will not sacrifice the quality of the matches that we make. Getting an assistant is not like just hiring anyone. This is an incredibly crucial team member for you for years to come. Now, the way that payment works is you'll pay a one-time match fee, and that takes care of everything from your intake, all the work that we do to find your assistant, including all the advertising, what we spend on the Kolbe matching, and everything that goes into that day one, bringing you your match. Then from there, There's also a monthly membership fee that you pay. And there's many features to that membership. That membership fee is what covers your assistant's ongoing participation in our inner circle. It also ensures that your assistant continues to be a part of our ongoing professional development program. And our membership fee is very, very reasonable for the quality of ongoing education that your assistant gets, as well as the ongoing support that you and your assistant get for months and months to come. Now, that ongoing membership fee, you can cancel at any time. If for any reason you feel like you and or your assistant are getting no value whatsoever, then go ahead and cancel it. I wouldn't want you to spend money on anything that didn't feel right to you. I think you'll find, though, that the community and support that it offers you and your assistant is truly extraordinary and easily worth the membership amount many times over. The speed, ease, and flow that I've enjoyed ever since I finally cracked the code and got my Great Assistant has been life-changing. In fact, most entrepreneurs that we help come to us 3 to 6 months after they get their match and say, why didn't I do this sooner? Because it's just such a breath of fresh air in their business. They can't believe they've been missing out on having a great assistant for all these months and years. So whether it's through us or whether it's through some other channel, I sincerely hope that as soon as possible you can get your great assistant so that you can get to focusing on the top 20% of your business while you've got the support of a great assistant taking care of the bottom 80%. Thanks for taking a few minutes to watch this video. My name is Tim Francis, founder of GreatAssistant.com.